Welcome back to Explaining Everything, the channel where we dive into the stories and mysteries behind everyday things. Today's question comes from one of our curious viewers, Toe Bean Supreme. Thanks for the suggestion, Bean. Great name, by the way. You asked, why do escalators have brushes on the sides? At first glance, they look like they might be there to shine your shoes or just give your ankles a free tickle. But nope, these bristles have a much bigger purpose, and they might just be the only thing standing between you and an embarrassing or painful escalator mishap. So, if you've ever wondered what those brushes are really for, or if you've ever been this close to getting your shoelace devoured by an escalator, stick around because we're breaking it all down right here on Explaining Everything. Escalators seem harmless enough, right? Just moving stairs, carrying you to your next mall purchase or airport terminal. But these things are basically metal death traps in disguise. Every year, thousands of people get injured on escalators. And I'm not talking about the classic oops, I tripped and now I look dumb injuries. I'm talking clothing, bags, and even limbs getting sucked into the gaps between the moving steps and the side panels. You know that tiny space between the steps and the sides. It looks harmless, but it's a trap. If anything, shoelaces, loose clothing, a wandering foot gets caught in that gap, the escalator just keeps on moving. And let's just say, it's not very forgiving. Enter the brushes. A lot of people assume these brushes are there to clean your shoes. And honestly, that would be a great bonus feature. But in reality, they serve a much more important function. They stop you from dying a stupid death. The brushes are there as a psychological barrier. The moment your foot, bag, or clothes touch the bristles, your brain goes, "Whoa, that feels weird. Maybe I should move away." And that tiny moment of awareness is enough to prevent accidents. It's like escalator manufacturers knew people wouldn't read safety signs, so they installed an automatic, "Hey, don't do that" system. And if you're thinking, okay, but how bad could it really be? Let me introduce you to some truly horrifying escalator incidents. First, the Great Shoelace Massacre. Thousands of shoelaces have been lost to escalators. It's basically a rite of passage. 1 second, you're stepping off like a normal person, and the next, your laces are being devoured by the abyss. Second, the pants incident. Yes, people have actually gotten their pants caught in escalators. Imagine stepping off an escalator and realizing, oops, your pants are staying behind. Not the best way to start your day. Third, the ultimate nightmare. There have been rare but real cases where entire limbs got caught. And let's just say, escalators are not gentle. That's why modern escalators have more safety features, including those brushes. Now, you might be wondering, why brushes? Why not a warning light or a tiny alarm that screams at you? Well, engineers figured out that people are way more likely to react to touch than to a sign. If a sign says, "Stay away from the edges," most people ignore it. But if something physically brushes against you, your brain registers it instantly. It's the same reason people back away from spider webs without even thinking. Plus, brushes are simple, cheap, and don't require any fancy sensors or electronics. No need for an app that tracks your foot position, just some old-school bristles doing their job. Okay, let's say you decide to live dangerously and ignore the brushes. What's the worst that can happen? Well, your foot could get pulled into the side gap, which could mean anything from mild embarrassment to a very bad day at the hospital. Or maybe it's your bag. Imagine stepping off an escalator only to realize your backpack is still riding it, but now it's getting sucked into the side. Congratulations, you just became that person causing a scene in the middle of the mall. Or maybe, just maybe, you're one of those people who can't resist touching everything. So you decide to mess with the brushes. Next thing you know, your fingers are caught in a moving metal monster, and suddenly you regret every decision that led you to this moment. Escalator brushes. Not for shoe polishing, not for fun, not a secret cleaning mechanism. They're just a simple, brilliant way to stop you from getting too close to the danger zone. Because trust me, the last thing you want is to become an unfortunate escalator statistic. So next time you step onto an escalator, give a little nod of respect to those unassuming bristles. They might not look like much, but they're the unsung heroes keeping your shoelaces, bags, and limbs intact. Think of them as tiny safety guardians, quietly preventing chaos one brush at a time. And if you ever hear someone say, "Oh, these are just here to clean my shoes," feel free to enlighten them. Or just let them learn the hard way. Either way, those brushes will be there, doing their job, whether people realize it or not. And that's the mystery of escalator brushes solved. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and maybe next time, watch your shoelaces when riding these metal monsters. Also, if you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for tuning in, and join us next time here in the channel that answers all the why, what, who, where, and how questions you've always wondered about, here on Explaining Everything.